Hi, this is JP Morgan. Today on the Slanted Lens, we're going to take a look at different sensor sizes. Everything from micro four thirds to medium format. Each of these has an advantage. Each of these has a reason why people buy them. Let's find out which one of these is best for you. We're going to start with micro four thirds. This is the G9 II from Panasonic. It's a beautiful camera. I've shot it this many times. Gives you a beautiful image. One of the advantages of micro four thirds is that it is smaller and lighter weight. Easy to carry with you when you go camping, when you're going out doing mountaineering things, when you want to carry a camera that is lighter weight, and the lenses are lighter weight as well. So it's a lighter weight package. But with a micro four thirds, you've got to times the lens by 2. That's 2 times the lens. So a 400 millimeter lens is going to be 800 millimeters on this sensor size. That can be a great advantage. If you get a 400 millimeter lens on this, it's an 800 millimeter lens. We shot a lot of wildlife with this setup, and it just was wonderful to get that kind of reach with an 800 millimeter lens. So the times 2 can be an advantage and a disadvantage depending on how you're using it. It's great for wildlife and for sports because you get much tighter with that 2 times crop. Because it is a smaller sensor, it means there's not going to be as much detail. It's a smaller sensor size, which is not going to give you the same detail as a full frame or as a medium format. For micro four thirds, you need lenses with faster apertures. 2.8 in a head and shoulders shot on this doesn't give you that really nice out of focus background. You've got to get into 1.2. You need something that's going to give you a shallower depth of field, so really faster lenses with wide open apertures are going to be the key to making this a great format. What's one of the reasons people choose the micro four thirds? It's much less expensive. Lenses are smaller, the cameras are less expensive. It really becomes a cost factor. You can get a very inexpensive, lightweight camera you can carry with you. That micro four thirds checks a lot of boxes when it comes to price and size. Next is an APS-C sensor. This is the Canon R7. The APS-C sensor is a smaller sensor than your full frame, but it means the cameras are going to be lighter. Lighter lenses, a lot easier to carry with you, and a great camera for amateurs into more professional work. It is a great sensor size. It does have a crop factor of 1.5, which means a 400 millimeter lens is going to be 600 millimeters. There's an advantage to that, but it does have that crop factor of 1.5. But the lenses are much smaller than what you get in one of these larger formats. They're a smaller, more lightweight camera, and less expensive than what you're going to have in your full frame or your medium format. Again, you have more depth of field than you do in a full frame or a medium format, but not as much as the micro four thirds. So you're going to need faster lenses going to help you give that really out of focus background that you want. Unless you're using lenses that are made for APS-C, and there are a lot of them out there, Fuji especially has a lot of lenses, a great range of lenses in that APS-C sensor size, gives you beautiful lenses to choose from with fast apertures. That helps make that a very successful format. I think in the Fuji format it's really good. The Canon's getting there as well. Again, like the micro four thirds, it is great for wildlife and for sports because you have that crop factor, you get in closer. But what it doesn't have a lot of times, although it depends on the manufacturer, is frames per second that you get with some of the higher end cameras. So APS-C sensor, great choice, great price, might be right for you.
Hi, my name is Yasi. I'm a touring music photographer, and here is what's in my SKB case. I've got 2 camera bodies. One is digital, the Canon 5D Mark IV. Over here, I've got the Canon EOS R is my film body. And I keep my lenses all over here, the 70-200, the 35, the 85, and the 16-35. I've got a whole stack of batteries over here. I've got my big flash, the 600. Got a little backup flash just in case. Very, very, very important are my fitted earplugs. Also very important are my snacks. Don't forget your charger and your cards. That's literally it. So yeah, that's what's in my SKB case.
So now let's talk about full frame. This is an A7 RIII, which is a large megapixel sensor, but there are some sensors out there, 24 megapixel sensors, like the S5 II. There's great cameras, a range of cameras in this kind of full frame sensor size. Cameras that are made for faster frame rates, cameras that are made for larger megapixels like this one to get larger images. This is really a very kind of heavy lifting professional camera. It is more expensive, a lot more features in this camera, faster frame rates. Depending on the camera, the frame rates can be extremely fast. So it really gives you a great camera. The Sony A7 III gives you up to 120 frames per second with that global shutter. So you really are looking at full frame camera, professional camera, tons of features. It's made for sports, it's made for stopping action. Most wedding shooters I know will carry a couple of full frame cameras. Sometimes I've seen them carry a full frame and a crop factor, an APS-C, just because they want those two different cameras as they're shooting. But I think as a heavy lifting kind of professional camera, most people are going to turn to a full frame camera just because of all the features it has. Camera companies are making a ton of lenses. They start with this kind of full frame. Most companies, they fill up a good range of lenses for that full frame, and that becomes their kind of their workhorse and their champion, and then they move on to the other kinds, unless you're a company that really focuses on a certain genre of camera. It has much better image quality. It's got a larger sensor, so you're going to get a better image quality than both an APS-C sensor or a micro four thirds. Although some people will argue that they are very close. When you look at them, you have to really be looking to see the difference. Certainly if you're shooting and posting to social media, you're not going to see the difference. You're not going to see the difference between a full frame and a micro four thirds, there's no way. But if you're going for major printing, if you're looking for gorgeous prints, you're going to make large prints, then you're going to want a larger megapixel full frame camera, or maybe even a medium format. So on that full frame, they are very expensive with very expensive lenses, but it does cater to a professional market. So those larger sensors, that full frame sensor, gathers more light, there's going to be less noise, it's going to have a great dynamic range in comparison to some of the crop sensors. Full frame cameras are larger and heavier for the most part. When you put a lot of the telephoto lenses on, they're extremely heavy. Some of these telephoto lenses, 150 to 500 millimeter lens, become very large and very heavy. Especially if you get a specialty lens for wildlife or for birds, those can be $12,000 for a single lens. So it is a professional grade camera and camera system, and the things are expensive. They're weather sealed, they're made to be out in the elements. For the most part, they're cameras that are made to be out working and being able to hold up to the rigor of professional use. Now we come to a medium format. This is GFX100 II. It's a beautiful medium format, and one of the things that makes this camera so wonderful is that you get a very shallow depth of field. It's the shallowest depth of field of all of these cameras. At 2.8, you get a beautiful bokeh in the background. It's one of the reasons I love shooting on my Hasselblad 500 cm was because in the film days, because it just gave you a beautiful, everything falls so beautifully out of focus in the background. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous camera. It has a larger sensor than a full frame camera, which gives you more detail. So if you're doing landscapes, if you're doing studio work, like for fashion and things that are going to be printed, make billboards, those kinds of things, it's a camera that's made for that large kind of reproduction. It is a professional camera. It is very expensive. We're talking one of the cheapest end is going to be $6,000 or $7,000 up to 10 plus. So they are expensive cameras. Hasselblad makes great cameras. Fujifilm makes great cameras in this range. They're just excellent cameras out there. They are made to be studio type cameras. They don't have fast frame rates. They are not really made for sports or for action of any kind. The lenses have not a plus crop factor, a minus crop factor. So a 50 millimeter lens on this is going to be closer to like a 35 millimeter. So it goes the opposite way. You're subtracting. So these cameras struggle with getting out there far enough. A telephoto, it's hard to get a telephoto on this. It's not made for that kind of work. It really isn't. There's different companies that make different size sensors in this medium format range, so they aren't all the exact same size. Like the Phase series has much larger sensors. Hasselblads are pretty good size. The GFX100 series is a little smaller, but still medium format, large, beautiful image capture. It's made for people who want to get a lot of detail and want to carry the weight. They're very heavy. It's a very deliberate kind of camera, something you're going to want to put on a tripod a lot of the time. It's not a run and gun kind of camera. It's not a shoot from the hip kind of camera. It's made to be more deliberate on a tripod, getting beautiful images with great detail. So it really is best for landscape and for studio work. That's where it excels. Here's some different images we shot from another lesson where we talked about depth of field. Let's look at some of those images and just see the difference in that depth of field. Before you blow up the comments with, well, that really isn't cheaper, or that's more expensive, or you didn't say this, or there's that. I mean, all of these cameras have started to converge. It is really fascinating to me. The ISO capabilities of all of them is starting to look cleaner and cleaner in all the different formats. So it just makes this kind of comparison sometimes very difficult to sort through. I'm talking about generalizations of these different sensor sizes. I shoot on full frame all the time. It's my favorite format. I love it. That's what I shoot on. And when I shoot on the A7 RIII, I've got such a large megapixel. It's pretty hard for that not to compete with a medium format, and it gives me so many other features. The video aspects of a medium format are not as wonderful as what you get in these other cameras. I mean, you get some really great video specs in these other cameras. So if someone asks me, I really want a camera that'll give me great video and great stills, I'm gonna probably direct them towards a full frame camera. But if they say, I want something that I can travel with and carry, and I don't want a lot of weight, but I want a beautiful image, that APS-C or the Micro Four Thirds are great choices. So check out these different cameras, do a little research, you'll find the one that's exactly right for you. So keep those cameras rolling and keep on clicking.